everybody. Welcome to your Hump Day Power Trading Merlin show. I'm going to hybrid the two together. Hope you all had a fantastic day out there today. Kind of a choppy ride for our equity markets as the fear is starting to come back in that maybe we are going to have an increase in the coronavirus I'm not going to say body count, but the count of coronavirus cases seems to be rising, so we'll have to see how this one pans out. Could make for a very rocky next couple of days here going into Thursday and Friday. That said, hello, Jonathan, Natalia, Gaera, Easy. I don't know, never know how you pronounce those three letters. Eyes, I will call you. Eyes One, Thomasina, Big Eb, good to have you, George, as well as Naum. Happy Wednesday, everybody. All right, as you guys saw, I titled today's show, The Art of the Pump and Dump. I finished the show yesterday talking about a specific company which has become the topic du jour amongst everybody right now. And from a lot of the stuff I've been reading, it's starting to show more and more, not that the company's a scam, I think it's actually a legitimate company, but the prospects for its success are so distant that it's a real long shot. And of course, there's ways that we can see these pump and dumps happening. I'm going to walk through some of that as we progress through today. Things that I've seen in the past, how those pump and dumps work, and bottom line is anybody with a media presence or a following has the potential to manipulate and dump stocks, pump and dump stocks. So we'll talk about that on today's show. Let me start things off with your market update, and we'll go into these equity markets and show you not just the equities, but the commodity side of things. I'll start it off with crude oil, which today crude oil was your worst performer. I say worst, but look at the picture. It's not that bad. It was down 1.77% to 37.70. All in all, it's not that bad. You might view this pattern here. I know we've had a lot of people that have been asking about candlestick formations. They might be looking at it as a bearish Harami formation. I would argue that that is a bearish Harami formation. And the question becomes, how do you trade it? For those that might not know, what is a bearish Harami formation? Rather simple. You have markets in uptrend. Now, granted, it's only 2 days worth of uptrend, so it's not the best example. However, this candle right here, this little red one, fits entirely within the previous day. And I'll show you the lines there. We'll put them right there on the bottom. Make sure I'm in snap mode. And basically, you're seeing that this small little red candle fits completely within those two red bands. So the question becomes, how do you trade it? Most would trade this, look to this as a potential short on crude oil here and wait for it to break down below the low of the beginning of the Harami, which would be the low of 36.38. If you're more aggressive, you would trade below the low of today's price action, which is 37.21. Either way, you're waiting for it to open up and then drop down below that line. So there you go. That's your simple one for crude oil to start the day. Russell 2000. Oh, got a great day yesterday. It looks almost identical today with that price pattern, although the candle is not green today. It's red to the tune of negative 1.72%. Not sure why I have this line on the screen here. I'll zoom out a little bit to see where it's all coming from. Still, all in all, it looks like a great uptrend still intact here. Again, we could probably go back to our discussion yesterday on moving averages and torture them to make these moving averages fit this chart. But right now, looks great to the upside here as a continuing uptrend until we start to break those lows, which to me would be a break of that low we established on Monday, which is going to be right around 13.14. Bitcoin, not doing so well either, down 1.34%, but just like gold did a couple months back, really in just a big sideways action. It's a 1,000 point range. You're pretty much dead center in that right now at 9,400, so nothing noteworthy there on the Bitcoin chart to speak of. S&P 500 dipping just a little bit today. Now, I actually like this candle formation better compared to most of the other ones that we've seen. This is a sign of hesitation. You don't have the big volume spike. You don't have the big ranges. It's kind of a smaller range compared to the last 4 that we've seen. So that's a little bit of a breather, some hesitation. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, but we may see some more downside movement here. Right now it's at 3106, which is a slide of just 0.38%, so not that big of a deal. But it was your number 4 performer on the day. I'm going to call it number 3 because I'm going to just skip the 10-year now. I think 10-year is going to get omitted. Here is gold on the day. Nothing noteworthy here, down 0.06 to 1735, and it's really been stuck in a 30-point range for the past week, so big deal. Who cares? All right, the big leader, the huge leader. I'm being a little sarcastic there, but not really. NASDAQ 100 was your leader today. It hit an intraday high of 10,047. So going back up to very close to our all-time high, which of course was 10,141. Again, small compressed range. I'd rather see it as a red candle if it is in fact hesitation. Really wait and see what happens tomorrow. If this news spreads of more coronavirus cases, you might see this actually start to break the lows from today. I'll put a line on the screen because I have a feeling we're going to revisit this one and go, see, would have been a great short below 99.15. There you go. That's your top 7 markets out there in your market update. Mario says, I want a shirt that says, I see candles. Yeah, unfortunately, my eyes do the same thing. All I do is start to see candles and chart formations and all kinds of market-related things in my day-to-day life. The worst is when you walk by the produce department in the grocery store and you're like, ooh, look at the double top formation there. Ooh, there's an ascending triangle on the carrots today. You know you have a problem. Yes, I'm one of those people that looks at that type of stuff. AVP, real quick before I get into our topic today, says, can you draw a trend line on the ES and tell us what you think about it? Sure, well, I can do that. I can do all sorts of stuff like that. The bottom line for this one becomes, where do you see that trend line coming in? The trend line can be manipulated and tortured from a lot of different spots. And the challenge is this. Most people are going to take the trend line from this very bottom, all right, and then say, okay, well, we'll put it through. Let me take the snap off just so you guys get a better view here. Take the snap off. They'll say, oh, I'm going to take it through that low there, but, oh, we already broke that one. So, first off, it was... Let me do this. This is why I have a hard time with trend lines. Not to, be condescending or anything like that, but let me just... Right there, I'd say, okay, we've got a trend line intact, right? I think you guys can all see that. Looks great. Boom, it hasn't closed below that line. Oh, it broke. Okay, well, then I'm going to have to redraw this trend line, right? Let me get my ends here. Come on, Merlin. When I redraw those ends, I'm going to constantly be adjusting. Oh, okay, so now we've got one going through these lows. Okay, perfect. I got my uptrend back intact. And you keep going forward, and you're like, oh, okay. I would have been taken out there because it's now broken. So then okay, well, let me find a new low. Okay, perfect. There we go. I got a trend line going through here. Oh, it broke it there. Okay, no. Let me modify it a little bit more. I'll put my trend line through here. Okay, we'll move it forward. Okay, great. We're still in it. Hey, everything's looking great. I'll carry this one all the way out. And you're like, oh, well, actually, no, I've now broken it. So I don't like the trend line on this one. That's the bottom. That's what I'm trying to allude to here, AVP, is I'm not really a big make those charts big, Daniel. Well, don't be staring at the charts. Do theater of the mind. I hope you guys can see very quickly in my mean approach that you can adjust this line to fit anywhere. And bottom line is, if you're now going to do a trend line from those lows through where we are right now, okay, great. It just doesn't really help me. It doesn't say a lot. Therefore, I would actually be using, in this case, I'd be moving more towards those moving averages like we talked about yesterday, which, of course, we did have a break. Let me see if I can throw the moving averages back on there. That's your 50 and 200. I'll drop this back down to a 20, which I think we looked at the 20 yesterday, which was a fairly good fit for this one. Not exactly, but I would tweak this one a little bit and try to get it to fit. I think I looked at the 30 on this bad boy yesterday. I looked at a lot of different ones. I'd be more inclined to stick to something like this, AVP, which was, moving averages are simply a dynamic trend line. And if I can start to get more touches and more points of contact, then maybe I'll draw a trend line in so we have this kind of very linear approach. Right now, I think it's actually following better on a moving average approach than it is on a straight trend line. So not a big fan of the trend line on this one because it really only has 2 points of contact based off the low we had on Monday. So it doesn't really work for me. Anyway, there you go. Your question has been answered, I hope. Okay, I want to go to a listener question here, which was one that was brought up yesterday or day before yesterday. And it says, bought a few shares of Nikola last week. What are your thoughts on it as a company? What a perfect way and segue into the art of the pump and dump. Yes, the art of the pump and dump is something that I love. I love the fact that there are so many sheeple out there that they find a lot of false prophets, and those false prophets will dictate where the sheeple should be putting their money. Now, years ago when I started in 1998, when I was on that trading floor in Irvine, California, I was really focusing on the news, watching CNBC. You had the monitors right here because those are the experts, right? The Nigerian brothers and Jim Cramer and Marito Bartiromo. This was like, oh, hallelujah, hallelujah, right? They knew everything, and I aspired to be like them. Of course, after I got on CNBC and was abruptly kicked off, I realized what a bunch of junk that TV program is, and not just them, but any kind of finance show, because generally there's a vested interest. The art of the pump and dump is really simple. It is done and perpetrated by those that have power and influence. I know you guys are going to probably send me hate mail, but probably the greatest influencer out there who I would love to see every transaction of his background is President Trump, right? That guy knows when he's going to tweet something, and he knows if he tweets, trade war with China, if they don't do this, I'm going to slap a 50% tariff on them. He knows the markets are going to take a nosedive. So I could easily, and let's be very clear, this is not an attack on Trump. It's just saying he is doing this with tweets. It could be a Democratic president, could be a Green Party president. I don't care. It's the influence of social media, but right now we see Trump doing this. So it would be interesting to see if there's any transactions going on behind the scenes. Point came up the other day. What about Jerome Powell? Right? Jerome Powell's comments could easily sway the markets. I tell you what, I'd love to be a friend of Jerome Powell and just know 15 minutes beforehand what he was going to say about the economy going forward. What new word did he add to his speech that he said last week, which was the exact same speech? These are the influencers which indirectly are pumping and dumping markets, right? They're generally pumping, but it's their followers who are going to be ones that are dumping. Now, that is what we're faced with every single day. One of the things that we can do to circumvent that kind of pump and dump is to look at the charts and see when volume comes surging in. Quite frequently, when you hear a piece of news, obviously it's already priced in, and we can look at that price chart and see that yesterday volume might have been 5, 6, 7 times normal. Okay, don't buy it. You're actually probably going to want to short this thing on that news because the knowing people already were involved and they pushed it up. One of my favorites out there, I love this guy. I met him once in New York, and he seemed like actually a pretty nice guy. His name was Tokyo Joe, and I really apologize for the picture. I can't find much on this guy anymore. Tokyo Joe walked through the the exhibit hall at the Traders Expo one time. And, we were doing this Traders Expo as we always did for Online Trading Academy, and it really taught me a lot about the good people and bad people in this industry. Tokyo Joe comes through with the total entourage, and I was in awe, talked to the guy for a little bit, and he was Mr. Stock Picker. Well, later on, come to find out, a lot of lawsuits came because what he was doing is he had millions of people following his newsletter. Now, here's how we do this, and maybe you can draw a parallel to somebody that I've been hammering on for quite a bit because I think he's a total POS. All you have to do is convince people that you are making a lot of money. So what Tokyo Joe was doing was showing that he was making some money, but it's because of his database, right? So he had a database. He would send to that database a pick. So buy stock XYZ when it reaches this price. What he was doing is buying well before it reached that price and continuing to buy shares of it until it actually helped push it through that price, at which point all of his followers bought those shares, it vaulted up, and Tokyo Joe would sell and now show a monstrous profit, which he would do what? He would then go out, use that as marketing material, and show the people, hey, look at me, I made a ton of money. But what it was basically a pump on his part and a dump on his clients that he put that newsletter out to. We know that this happens every single day because as men, we look at our inbox and all they do is prey off our weakness, our inability to pick the markets, so we get stock picks, and Viagra ads. So that's your typical inbox on a daily basis. Most of that stuff are companies that are paid by other companies to promote their company. What I mean by that is I met a guy years ago through the trade show actually, and what his job was, he was going on the trading floor and finding small companies, small cap companies, and saying, hey, are you publicly traded? I will get your share price to move to the upside. Of course, the company's going to say, well, we don't have a lot of money for that. A guy would say, you know what, give me 100,000 shares or 500,000 shares of your penny stock, and I will make it move. Guy said, what does that to me? I got a penny stock company. It's not going anywhere. So he would give the guy 500,000 shares, and the guy would go out there and he would hire different companies to go out on social media and do nothing but promote and spam and say, dude, you've got to check out this company. Of course, you'd see the share price start to move up as it became more mainstream and moved from 1 penny to 2 pennies. All of a sudden, they're out there on social media saying, this stock's up 100%, man. You got to buy it before it's up 6,000%. It's going to be the next Tesla. And all of a sudden, the stock just keeps on rallying. The retail population gets a hold of it, they pump it up more, and then it comes crashing back down because it was a garbage company to begin with. Now, so let's see. Sorry, I'm reading through the chat here real quick. Cool. So those are the typical pump and dump ones. I've seen them time and time again on price charts. I've actually brought them to some of your attention. There are new influencers out there and new ways that companies get pumped, even though it is not really a conscious decision. So when I was on CNBC, at the time, I don't think I had any positions open because I was more of a day trader, but I was saying, hey, this is going to happen if this happens, and here's my feelings on this. When I bring guests on this show and they have a position, and I ask them, I said, if you're in something, I want you to tell everybody that you are in it. I don't want this to be a show where somebody comes on this program and says, hey, you need to buy this stock, which I'm pretty sure you guys have seen that's not the case. unless people say, hey, I am fully vested long or short this company, and here's why. Make your own decisions off it. But I'm tired of people pumping stuff when they have an agenda behind it. If you look at shows like Jim Cramer has a ton of institutional-backed friends. He used to work for Goldman Sachs, I believe. He's a hedge fund manager, so he has all these connections. And I'll tell you what a huge perk that would be if I'm Goldman Sachs and I'm overweight in a certain position that I just really need to get to pop to the upside so I can unload some of it. Hey, Jim, this is Merlin with Goldman. Hey, man, look, I got a house in the Hamptons. You want it for the weekend, it's yours. Tell you what, you can take the Ferrari, or you can have the jet boat, but what I need you to do is I need you to pump up stock X, Y, and Z, and I need it done by Friday. Can you do that for me? Yeah, boo, I'll do that. Guy goes out there, does a lightning round on it, does a little special on why you should buy stock X, Y, Z, and all the sheeple are out there, and you can literally hear them on the screen going, bah, bah, and they'll flock to that stock. It pops up. Goldman does their bidding, and I'm not focusing just on Goldman, guys. He's got so many high-profile connection people. If I was in the industry on that level, he would be my patsy. I'd be using him every day to pump and promote my company. I would pay him $100,000 to talk about stock XYZ because I know if I can get the retail population to buy it, I'm going to make $1 million. Big deal. That's a write-off for me. So this happens all the time. Now, we all know that the TV people are going to say what's in their best interest, right? Most of them. There's a handful of people who I think are really good and will be honest and say, this is my personal opinion about the market, and here's how I'm going to act on it. Most are going to say, not tell you that. They're going to have a bias. They're going to have a position. They're going to be fully vested in that position, and they will paint a picture of the market just to support their position so you buy into it. Bring us back to Nikola stock. Here is Nikola stock, which if you go back to the fundamentals, let me see if I can share some of this stuff with you because I think it's rather interesting. We'll go away from Tokyo Joe here so I can show you the new pump and dump. Let me see, where is that one? All right, so here's Nikola, right? Nikola, for those of you guys who don't know, they are hydrogen vehicles. They are the topic du jour. Let's just say they're not doing anything close to making money, not even remotely close. But I wanted just to show you statistics, right? First off, I'll show you the chart of Nikola, which is NKLA. And I think you guys can already see the pump and the dump. Trust me, there's a bigger dump coming. You'll probably see this stock at below 30 for sure within the next 30 days. If anybody disagrees with me, I will buy you, let's see, what can I buy you? I will buy everybody that disagrees with me a bottle of Blanton's. That's a $70 bottle right there. If you disagree with me that this stock will be under 30 within 30 days, take that bet. But if you're wrong, you owe me a bottle of Blanton's. Let me know. That's an expensive bet right there. Okay, the pump and dump is in on this one. Yeah, I'm not sure what HB means on TradeStation. I can find out for you and tell you. It's usually it's an accounting thing. I thought it meant it was pink sheets, but it's not. This is a straight NASDAQ company at this point. First off, look at the chart, okay? If anybody was thinking of buying this, let me take the moving averages off. Before we dive into anything on this chart, does this look wrong to you? Does something look out of place here? This chart should just be a big red flag for you right away and go, what the hell happened in all of 2019? Right? All of 2019 was an absolute mess for this thing. Not only was it a mess, but all of 2019 it was trading at $10. Okay? And then all of a sudden it spiked up to 15, came back down, and then some interesting things happened and it just went ballistic. This is hard to borrow. Thank you, Kevin. That's good. Good to know. I did not know that one. But for hard to borrow, that means that basically it's very difficult to short it. You can, but you'd have to call them up to ask the TradeStation if you could short it. Right now, it's really hard to short this one. Not just that, but with options too are really, really expensive for this bad boy. So, to the pump and dump thing. First off, this should create a red flag, just the price chart by itself, right? Yeah. Batista says Nikola equals Enron. Yeah, maybe. No, it is not affiliated with Tesla at all. And matter of fact, these two hate each other. They don't like each other. One of them is fuel cell, hydrogen fuel cells. That's Nikola, of course, Tesla's batteries, and Elon Musk just really went after the whole coil industry, called him full cell and things like that. So you had a rivalry between these two. Anyway, going back to the chart here, you guys should be able to see that something was amiss back here in 2019. Nothing happened. Recently, there's all kinds of weird activity on the back end of this. So basically what happened is a shell corporation came in, ended up buying Nikola for a specific amount per share. Only a limited amount of the 360 million shares are available right now. So you have 360 million shares total for Nikola. How many do you guys think, out of all those 360 million, how many do you think right now are tradable in our market? Take a guess. As of, I think it was actually as of like a week ago or a couple weeks ago, but how many of the 360 million shares you would think that all of them are in the market? No, that's not the case. But what percentage, how many of those 360 million do you think right now are afloat, meaning that you and I could buy them in the open market? These shares you see right here on this chart, those are shares that are in the open market. We are trading that small basket. How many is it? I know you guys are active. I know you got guesses out there, so I'm going to wait because I have it on the latency here on YouTube. It's going to be a little bit long, but I'm just curious to see what you guys think. I know some of you know the answer because you probably watched the articles. It's really interesting. Domesticated rat, it has a lot to do with Robinhood. A lot. And that's where I'm going to talk about pump and dump here in a second. So, what do you guys think? How many of the million? Out of 360 million? I don't see too many responses. The answer is 23 million shares. 23 million shares out of 360. It's less than 10%. I can't do the math in my head right now, but I'm guessing that's probably about 7 or 8% of the shares are tradable right now. If that doesn't make you pucker up a little bit and go, oh my God, 1/8 of the shares are available, what happens when the other 98% of those shares come onto market? Where's price going to go? And because of the weird way, there's this whole system, they're called pipes and SPACs, which are specific entities allowed to buy public corporations and different investment vehicles. It's shenanigans going on behind the scenes in Nikola. It's not a typical company corporation, the way it's structured. Most of it is held by a separate holding company. The owner, the CEO, has a bunch of it. Now, here's the interesting thing. The pipe holders, which are these... forget the acronym, but the pipe holders are really the main investors for this. Those are your hedge funds. They're basically getting this for $10 a share. And there's a period of time where they cannot sell those shares, which is going to be ending very, very soon. Now, let's say you got a couple million shares at $10 of a company that's making no money, zero. I'll show you that. That's where I was headed to with Yahoo, because this to me is the new pump and dump for 2020 is Nikola Corporation. Let's just go look at its market capitalization. $23 billion market cap right now. That is pretty unbelievably massive. But wait, maybe they're making some money. Nope, they're not making anything, right? Their price chart, we don't need to go with stock price history. Quarterly revenue dropped 53%. Net income, doesn't that look, that's $108 million negative income. Total cash, they got some money on hand at $75 million in cash. But their operating is $70 million, so goodbye to that capital. Maybe you can get a sense of this company by seeing who the holders are, right? Get an idea of who's holding this company, what their goals may be. There's so little information about the insider trading. You literally have to go to the SEC. Look at Yahoo's got nothing on these guys. How about the insider profile? Nothing in the last 24 months. I thought it might be interesting to just click on profile so you can see where this $23 billion company is based and what they're doing. Unfortunately, it's taking forever for this to load up. I'm not sure why that is. The profile should show you, Yahoo had it as having 4, I repeat, 4 employees. Where is it? Oh, come on, where was it? I saw one thing here on Yahoo just a minute ago that showed that they had 4 employees, and I was like, you're telling me that this company has a $23 billion market valuation and has 4 employees. Now it's up to 256, okay? So obviously they're making big changes, but still a long way to go. Now, back to the topic in question, which you guys pointed out earlier, which is Robinhood. The new pump and dump is not necessarily an individual saying, hey, you should buy this company, you should sell this. Now, what's happened on Robinhood is they have a feature. Let me see if I can share that with you, because I have a Robinhood account just to see what kind of stuff they're doing. And I will share the screen with you. So here's Robinhood, and down at the bottom, let's go to the homepage of Robinhood. I'll make it big. And let me ask you guys a question as I start this. Do you feel that you should consider a Robinhood trader somebody who would be an astute investor, a student of the market, somebody who's really making that their bread and butter as a trader investor? You think the Robinhood caliber investor are top tier? Or are these, some college kid who's taking their lunch money and saying, oh, I'll buy a share of this, I'll buy a share of that? What do you guys think? Just curious. I could go either way. So let me show you what Robinhood has on their front page. So I have no money in this account. I'd never put a penny into Robinhood account. But I just wanted to scroll down, and you'll see it says top movers. They've got these trending ones. And these are the new pump and dump. This is literally where most of the volume has come from. Now, what's interesting, I can't remember the exact facts, but if you go back to this chart of Nikola, right back to these days here, let's go NKLA, that's a daily. You had a period where the Robinhood investors are the ones that popped this thing up. They went from 3,000 holders at Robinhood, 3,000 clients having Nikola, to over 130,000, which I think is what it's at right now. And it's interesting, you can actually see that on their account. So let's go and just look at Nikola, right? I'll go here and I'll type in NKLA. There's Nikola. By the way, gentlemen spelled it with a C. It's Nikola, as in Nikola Tesla. You'll see right here, it's now 151,000 people. So in a period of 3 days, it went from 3,000 people holding shares of Nikola to 151,000. This is a perfect example of sheeple. To me, it begs the question of, is this a pump and dump? If I'm somebody at Robinhood, I could very easily just simply say, you know what? I'm going to buy a whole bunch of shares of stock X, Y, and Z, right? Let's just say it's stock XYZ. Not really doing anything, but as somebody on the admin side of Nikola, I just put that as the trending symbol. Because these sheeple, most of you guys here saying, nope, I've got one like $10 in it. No. Green people, college, don't even have charts. They ask for help on stock twits. Exactly. And Kevin puts it right. It's the epitome of the novice trader. 100%. I really think that this is the novice trader. And not to poke fun, I have a friend of mine who his strategy is, look, I'm buying one share of a company per day. Okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but we would be seriously misleading if we said that they were expert, advanced traders and investors. So what happens is these guys are just running out to whatever is trending and buying it. I think the biggest floods of capital in the recent couple weeks have been into Nikola and into Hertz, which we talked about Hertz yesterday, saying it's going to be going down. So if I'm the guy in the back end of Robinhood, I would post a little thing saying, here's for stock XYZ, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And then the day before, I just buy 50,000 shares of stock XYZ. Why? Because I know I've got, I don't know how many people are using Robinhood, but let's say 1 million or 2. Those sheeple are going to go out there and buy whatever stock I post on this trending, because I don't know anything about the markets. I'm just going to scroll through here and say, top movers. Oh, great. Ideanomics. I'm going to buy Ideanomics today. Click it, hit the buy button, and now I own Ideanomics. I know nothing about them. To me, this is the new pump and dump. It's the new way that these markets are being influenced and pushed to the upside. So it's kind of interesting. I actually have, since I've kind of been watching this phenomenon of how Robinhood can easily manipulate markets, and not say manipulate, they're simply posting advice saying, hey, here's what's moving, and the sheeple at Robinhood are gobbling that up. What does that mean for you and me? What I think it means for you and me is we should all have a Robinhood account. I know it sounds crazy. You should all have a Robinhood account. And part of your trading routine, if you're looking for opportunities to go counter trend, would be to look and see what has been trending in Robinhood over the past couple days. And if there's a stock that has been trending, I'm using these quotes, to me that means pumped, trending over the past 3-4 days and it's gone up, 100% or something, boy, you might want to start thinking about going short on that specific position, because clearly the people who are buying it aren't buying it because of good company valuations. They're buying it because it was simply on my homepage and it said trending on it. If we look at the valuations of Nikola, one of the videos that I was watching, a very interesting one, by the way. If you want to know a little bit more, I will share it with you. It's a gentleman, I don't have the gentleman's name is Meet Kevin. Just type in Meet Kevin and Robinhood. That should bring up this interview. It's a really good one where he really breaks down the numbers here, and it should make you go, oh my goodness, especially anybody thinking about buying into Nikola. Does this mean Nikola's a bad company? No. I mean, their trucks look amazing. Has anybody not seen the vehicles on Nikola? Right? Has anybody not seen that? Let me see if I can bring it up for you real quick. They're gorgeous. They're really like, wow, nice vehicles. And it's not just that they're doing trucks, they're doing off-road vehicles, they're doing all kinds of different products. So on paper, the vision looks really good. There's your truck. And they're hydrogen cells. Oops, sorry, I didn't bring it up for you. There you go. That's the Nikola. Their truck looks awesome. I mean, it looks really cool. There's the two other vehicles they've got. Fantastic futuristic stuff, especially if they can beat Tesla to the punch. Of course, this just puts a little fire under Elon Musk. It looks great. But their numbers are nothing but a bloodbath. They haven't sold a vehicle. They're not doing anything yet, right? It looks like 2021 is when this truck will be released. I'm interested. I think it's a pretty bad-looking vehicle, man. This is pretty cool. 0 to 60 in 2.9, so you can pull up next to a CBR 600 and have a race with that one. Anyway, I could go on and on and on about the potentials for this, but I don't know necessarily if it's going to be the next Tesla, which is what everybody wants to know. And by the way, for those that are asking, no, Nicholas Tesla did not have a middle name. That was the question that came up yesterday. It's like, did you have a middle name? Because I'm just going to start that as the name of my new company. So to me, yeah, the Badger GD, very cool. Yeah, I haven't. Ruben says Nicholas screams poser to me. I don't know. I don't know what to call him a poser. It seems like he's a visionary, and I can't say anything bad about somebody who comes up with an idea for a fuel cell vehicle and has now created prototypes for a vehicle that looks like that. But not only that Badger, which I think looks great. I'm a truck owner, so I would definitely probably go to the showroom and check this thing out. But look at these other vehicles, right? The Nikola 1, this thing is badass. That's a cool looking vehicle. Nitrogen? I mean, this could change the whole industry. But, that's neither here nor there. The point is, most of this stuff is pure speculation at this point. The earnings are nowhere even near close to coming out. And one of the interesting things that this guy posted in that video I was telling you about, he looked at the warrants for Nikola. Warrant is basically like an option, but it's generally to buy shares at a later date. 5-year warrant. Basically, to buy the shares of this company in 5 years, to buy them at $10, I think it was $10, is now selling for $22. Meaning in 5 years, those astute investors, because you can't buy them at Robinhood, who are buying these warrants, believe that the price of Nikola in 5 years will be around $35. So clearly there's a disconnect between what's real current price and what has been pumped up by the sheeple who are a lot of these Robinhood traders. Very interesting stuff. And I think this is the new normal. As John O'Donnell likes to say, this is the new normal, where we'll start to see indirectly moves and marketplace manipulation, pump and possibly dump, based off of what's going on in things like Robinhood. And it's just because they have such a captive audience of novice investors. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about those novice investors at Robinhood. Most of them have no understanding of discipline, risk management, or money management. So they're probably not going to sell. They're just going to buy these shares and hold on to them and just say, oh, I hope it goes up over time. Which makes it even better from a trading perspective, because they're going to be a captive audience. So when you see those things rip up like that, I think that there's great opportunity. I'll try to incorporate some of that into the show. If I see something that's on Robinhood that's really gone ballistic, I will take a peek at it and see if maybe we can plan out some short trades on that one. Won't people who missed out on Tesla jump on this one? Yeah, speculation, GD says. Yes, certainly this is that, oh no, this is the next one, I don't want to miss it, which is exactly what this company wants you to think. They want that action. And there's a lot of companies out there, like the space one. SPCE was a very similar one. The way that people are flooding into it for the fear of missing out, that FOMO. Careful with this one. Once those other shares, you got 360 million shares out there, 23 in circulation. When those other 337 million shares come onto market, it's going to flood with liquidity. When you have too much supply and you have demand that is increasing, but nowhere near the supply, which is now you're going to get an 11x flood, you're going to see this share just plummet, crater. Did I see anybody want to take me up on that? Did I mean to pop the collar? Is that better? Is that better? Medic man down? Do I look cooler with my collar up? I don't know. Collar up. It's kind of an Italian thing. I didn't do it. All right, what else we got here? Let's see if I got... I'm a rookie, but not putting any money in Robinhood. Good, Jorge. You shouldn't. the resources and I did a video for OT Academy a while back on that one, which is kind of what you need to know about Robinhood. And while I do think it's great because it allows you to buy one share at a time with no commissions and things like that, you really don't get any resources or tools to help you make more informed decisions from a technical perspective. I mean, I think you guys saw their chart. It was pretty pathetic. Let's see if I can bring that one up again. I'll bring up the chart here for you guys. You can see. There's their chart. Okay, that's 1 day. Let's go 1 week. Ooh, look at that. Ideanomics. Gee, I wonder if that one's been pumped up. Let's go look at IDEX on TradeStation, just to see what this might look like from a volume perspective. I would be willing to bet you guys that this became a trending, was posting as a trending stock on Robinhood probably around the 9th of June. And a large part of why you saw this thing rip up today was because people look at it and go, it's a $2 stock. It's up, 200% in just a couple of days. I'm buying some. 78% gain today alone. Of course, that's going to bring a lot of novice investors. And hey, you know what? We need those kind of people in our markets anyway. Let it happen. Yeah. Pro35 says Nikola implied volatility is 270%. Good luck buying them. I mean, don't even bother buying the puts. Not even buying puts. All right, what else do I got here? That's how much time do I got? Oh, we're doing good. Let me see. I'll have to look into that one. I got Koja's asking about Neo. I don't know about Neo, so I will have to plead the fifth on that one, but I'll check that one out for you. I made a little note for myself on Neo. Technically, I don't like it at all. I mean, chart-wise. I mean, look at the chart of Neo, N-E-O. Are you talking about the crypto or are you talking about the stock, Neogenomics? Oops, sorry, guys. Ah! I'm all over the place. This is what happens when you hit the buttons. Full screen. There you go. Neogenomics. I mean, I don't like the price chart. There's nothing there that tells me it's building strength, getting weaker. Volume hasn't changed. It's just been sideways. So personally, for me, right now, I would leave that one totally alone. I would just. There's no point in me jumping on that one. All right, what else we got? Natalia, speaking of Robinhood, my cousin wants to know your honest opinion about XSPA. A lot of the companies you might be bringing up, I'm not going to be looking at from a fundamental perspective now. I'm going to be looking at it from a macro level. Okay. Yeah, the crypto is pretty decent. All right, so I'm doing multiple things here. All right, this is an interesting chart. Express Spa. No idea what they do. Don't particularly care. I'm just simply looking at it from the fundamental or from a technical perspective. I certainly am not bullish on this one right now. I am skeptical on it simply because of the run-up that it has had. However, it's doing something interesting, right? It's got multiple gap and goes. So you have a gap and a go, which is back here. This is the original one on May 21st. It gapped, filled the gap a little bit, but then just took off again, and you have multiple breakaway gaps. This is pretty good sign that there is interest in the company if it doesn't come back and correct all the way. So it's building strength. The key is if it gets down below that line I drew there, I'll probably drop below the low, which is, let's just call it $4. If you get down below $4 again, then leave it alone. But it may actually start to build a base here right around $4 and move back up again. It's starting to look stronger. I don't know what they do. I haven't looked at any fundamentals. But generally, this type of stuff I would just walk away from because it doesn't have consistency. It basically has volatility, and that's great. But without some semblance of consistency or pattern, how are you going to capitalize on it other than just gambling? All right, let me look at NIO. All right, there's your NIO. This is a much better chart than what we looked at with the other ones. All right, so with NIO, you're looking at something that's been trending cleanly. And now, granted, there's some breakaway gaps. There's a lot of stuff that it's that make me nervous about it, but honestly, it looks pretty good. You do have several breakaway gaps in here, but you see it's still consistent, even though it's got big volatility. Overall volume is pretty good, which would support that move. If I'm not mistaken, they're manufacturing vehicles, right? I think that's a Chinese company. It's manufacturing vehicles. The thing I'm not really that big on with this one is it's a Chinese company manufacturing vehicles. I have a thing against China. It's nothing personal. It's just I just don't trust the economic data coming out of China. So it's hard for me to say, hey, I would be comfortable buying this. Technically, this looks really good, right? It looks great to me from a technical perspective. it actually, price-wise, it doesn't look that bad for a penny stock period. Back last year from October through January, February, you had a really nice building uptrend, which, this could be another phase of that. It seems a little long in the tooth. I think we'd all agree that this looks a little bit extended at this point. But, this is another company in that space of alternative vehicles. So, sure. There you go. What else we got? Well, let me look at NIO a little bit more, as a potential investment. My gut feeling is probably something that should be in my trading plan is I'm not going to trade companies from China just because of the inaccuracy of the reporting of the numbers. Even that happened with Nikola, right? You had the CEO basically say he was exaggerating some of the numbers. I mean, great, and all of a sudden you're fueling that fire for a short opportunity to the downside. They're converting airport, spa, real estate into COVID testing centers. Oh, wow, didn't know. Interesting. We may need more and more of that. Ruben, what is it about NIO that you like? I'm just kind of curious to see, what is. I mean, like I said, I like the chart. It's just I have a problem with buying Chinese stocks. I've seen too many times they are misreporting or misleading on their financial statements because they're not doing things the same way. So. Yeah, I got you, Kevin. I know you're talking about that other NIO, the range bound. Yep. It's actually, you're right. We were talking about this one as I said, there's not really much here. The only problem, well, there's multiple problems with that, Kevin, and that is when we look at this range bound, which it's got a great range. If you find something that's in a range like this, it certainly presents some great opportunity. You're looking at 29 to 25. There's a real nice range right there on NEO. That said, your volume is real low. You're looking at an average of 1 million shares a day. My guess is the option chain on this is going to be very, 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 very weak, right? I don't know if there's even options on this one. I could probably bring them up for you, but let me see if I have my option chain open. I think I do. Nope, closed my option chain already. So, when you have 1 million shares traded of a company like this, usually the options are, if they even have them, are very thinly traded. So I would probably just stay away from it. Oh, cool. So as long as I go through that accounting process that we talked about, which is one of the things that Trump has been pounding the table on, and I agree with him, all these companies should be at the same accounting standards that the U.S. companies are on, then certainly I could have a little more faith in it. But boy, I tell you, I just have a hard time buying things that where historically there's a propensity to lie on financial statements and earning stuff. All right, so the pump and dump. We are all going to be victim of it at some point. What we have to do as traders and investors to make sure that we don't get caught up in the hoopla, in the hoopla that will drag us into those financial losses. And a lot of times we saw this with the cannabis stocks where you had a huge move to the upside. In many cases, that was pump and dump as well. You had a big move to the upside that was fueled by somebody out there gathering up a bunch of shares, using social media, using the media period to pump it up. One of the best videos that you can see for this, it's a phenomenal video. I will see if I can bring it up here because they constantly take it down. It's on YouTube, YouTube. And I love it because Jim Cramer says that he didn't do this. And it's like, you can't be more obvious about it. It was you. Let's go, just type in Jim Cramer manipulation. I think I got it right here for you guys. Oh, there it is. Beauty. There it is. If you simply type in Jim Cramer manipulation, you'll get this video. And it's one of those ones you just go, you got to be kidding me. I can't believe that he said this stuff that he said. And basically what he talks about is how, if you're a hedge fund and you got to make your quarter, you're going to go out and you are going to do whatever you can to make that happen. So you'll go to you'll call up the bozo at the Wall Street Journal and you'll feed him some fake story about how Apple's doing this. I'm like, this is the truth. But he says, oh, I never did that. I never did that. That other people did that. But that's what this industry is full of, guys. It's full of people just doing whatever they can to make a buck, either pumping their shares, promoting their company, or helping their buddies out. So that was my rant for today. Nikola is a very interesting one. With regards to their shares, there is something very shady going on in the back end. That the way that the company was brought in, it's not as typical, IPO. It's awkward the way that this happened, and to me, it just reeks of manipulation. And I would probably stay away from it just to be safe. All right, what other questions you guys have for me? Anything we want to wrap up with the show for today? I know I didn't really I had a couple listener questions, but I'm not going to get to those today. I'll probably save those for tomorrow. I'm actually going to have Tilly Allison on the program again tomorrow. I'm hoping that Tilly will do a special feature for us. You know, she is a market technician, very good at what she does. She does so many different things, and I'm hoping that maybe she'll do a special weekly series where she is going to just real quickly analyze the markets, spot out some nice overall market levels, and that will be part of the TraderMerlin thing. We'll see how that goes. We'll maybe put her on the spot tomorrow, but I think you guys probably all like that. A weekly video that comes out says, hey, here's some supply zones for the S&P and maybe different markets, real quick and easy, and best price in the world. Free 99. More media, less impact too. Let's see, where was I? Where's the Domesticator at one? Sorry, I'm trying to read through all the comments here. All right, that's going to do it for me, guys. Sorry, I can read through the comments here. I'll try to catch up with those, and I will try to incorporate those into tomorrow's show because there's a lot of comments you guys are mentioning. Was that current video done an early web show or cable TV? It was a private thing. It was supposed to be a video that was just done for hedge fund managers. So there was a program that was just done for hedge fund managers, and apparently this video got leaked out. What's fantastic, I forget the guy's name. He used to work for Yahoo Finance. I can't remember his name. This guy over here on the left, Aaron Task. If you watch his face during the interview, he does this. He's like, I'll try to reenact it. He's like, so Jim, when you were doing this in the hedge fund, and Jim starts saying all this stuff that is straight up criminal, SEC flags all over the place. His face is like, he looks at the camera and he has that like, oh my God face. Just like, wow, I can't believe he's telling me this. This is good stuff. I'm going to win a Pulitzer Prize for this one. Unfortunately, nothing ever came of it, and the guy's got one of the most popular, influential TV shows in the world, which should just make you not trust it anyway once you watch this video. What's even better is you should watch it when Cramer goes on Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart absolutely tears him apart, and Jim Cramer does not have a rebuttal whatsoever. It's pretty embarrassing. I can't even believe that Jim Cramer went on Jon Stewart, but that's equally as good. All right, that will do it for me, everybody. Thank you guys so much. I will do my best to get Michelle. If you guys know some of these individuals, you can contact them too and say, hey, go on TraderMerlin, because I'm so busy with other content and this that sometimes I just don't have time to get to it all. I would love to get more people on the program, absolutely. So if you can help facilitate that, just have them contact me. If Michelle knows how to get a hold of me, I'll do my best. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a oh, no. Hold up a second. We're not done. We are not done. Why? Because you have some stuff cooking tomorrow. Let me show you this one. It's a real busy day tomorrow. A lot of stuff coming out for the U.S. You had the Empire State Manufacturing Index numbers were great. Still negative, but great because it was not so negative. Philly comes out tomorrow. Unemployment claims for the U.S. You have natural gas, and the rest of it, you have Australia with retail sales, and the British pound actually has a rate vote tomorrow. Most likely going to keep things right where they're at 0.10. That is your economic announcement. Earnings calendar for tomorrow. Kroger. Curious to see how Kroger does. You would think the grocery store is going to be doing very well. And also, I put this on here just because CCL, Carnival Corporation, will be reporting earnings. They've quite literally been dead in the water. So there you go. We'll see how that pans out for tomorrow. That is it. Of course, if you guys have any suggestions, comments, put them down below the video on YouTube. Obviously, I love when you guys hit that thumbs up button. That definitely helps me out. Tilly Allison will be our guest tomorrow. We're going to talk probably macro markets and wherever the flow goes with Tilly, as it's usually a fun show. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Join me and Tilly Allison on tomorrow's. Talk to you tomorrow.